welcome to LYB podcast. On today's episode, we have Matt Johnson. How are you?
What it do? I'm back.
Yes.
Back again.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling here.
Yeah, I was about to say, we were just talking about water intake. We're talking about sleep deprivation, all the things, which, you know, funny enough, I've been actively working on that. So so for me, when I hear you say that you haven't really been sleeping, I'm like, red flag. Like, you know what I mean? Immediately. Because it will catch up with you, my friend.
I know. Oh, I know. It's not like I hadn't been a good thing about me and everything else. Like, up until like the last year. So this has been a problem. But other than that, like, always been about getting my sleep by like 10 p.m. if you called my phone.
Right.
I was not picking up.
Yeah.
Ringer could be on, everything else going, but nothing. Matt, when you wouldn't hear from me, like my cousin knew, like after about 9:30, he's like, I don't even try to reach out to Matt until about 7 a.m.
People know that for me. That, you know, don't even play. Like even at like 9 now, I'm like, because what I try to do is implement. I've been working with my hormone specialist on this, like of not even like scrolling past like a certain time. You know what I mean? Because like if I'm gonna go to bed at 10, by like 9:30, cut it off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't even really look at it and then just like go to sleep. So that's why like now when people will message me or something, I'm like, I didn't even see it and I don't have to lie about it. It's actually really nice, you know? And I'm just like, I'm like, oh, I didn't see that. Like now I don't. And also too, I will tell you that has helped me. There's this thing called Hatch, and it's like the alarm clock that has like it wakes you in the morning up with like a sun like beam. It kind of like mimics the sun, and then it has like green noise, brown noise, all that at night. And it has like affirmations, it has like, all these different things that it can do. But like it like peacefully wakes you up, and it's so nice. Like I'm like, oh, like there's the birds chirping, and like here's the sun rising, and then here I'll still have my phone on my alarm, and it's like rant like 5 minutes later. So that way, if like I don't hear that one for some reason, I have a backup, but I don't even need the backup anymore. I just wake up. I never thought that was possible. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I've never had an alarm. That's the thing. People, I've never set alarms and stuff like that. And if I set one, I'm waking up at least 20 minutes before it.
Oh, that's
so I've
crazy.
just like never used alarms, and people just look at me funny, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's been one of my traits I've had my whole life. Like even through like school and everything else, I would get up before mom would get me up.
Yeah.
I'd wake up my brother and we'd go to school.
Well, and tell me about that, because you are from, is it Shelbyville that you're from? Yeah. Okay. Shovel. Yep. And that's where my brother and his wife and all them live. So, so tell me about that. Like, because do you still live there?
Yep, I still stay there. I mean, everybody thinks I live in Murfreesboro and stuff
like that
because
you're always in the borough.
But no, I still stay in Shelbyville. Like me and my cousin, that's one of our things. It's like we're still back home, but we're always on the go. So it's a lot easier for me to just pull up over this way or somewhere and just go, and then come back home and chill out. Whereas like most of the people in the town already know me, so it's like it's real cool. I'm cool with a lot of the cops and stuff like that, so I don't really get in trouble or get harassed or anything like that.
The small town vibes. Yeah.
So I enjoy that. It's
okay.
Like, I don't want to get up out of that. Like, no.
Well, and like, so tell me this. So, because what high school did you go to?
Central.
Central. Okay. Central. And so right now you live. Is it with like your cousin? You said, or is it
parents?
Parents. Okay. So what was there like? Had all of your family been from Shelbyville, or like they just moved there and then that's where you were born? Like
Mom and dad, they have like my dad was adopted.
Okay.
So like a lot of his family's in Memphis.
Okay.
So like when we was growing up, we used to go down there a lot during the weekends and stuff like that. So it's like people's like, oh yeah, I'm taking a quick trip to Memphis, and people just like, wait, what? I'm like, it's not a quick trip, but to me it was because we was doing it so often. I'm like, I'll hop in the car and drive to Memphis, and people look at me funny like I'm like, yeah, it's nothing. I'm like, I'll hop in and do it real quick, but growing up, that's what we did a lot. So like, but majority of my family is in Memphis and stuff like that. Okay. Like that's on my dad's side that we met a lot of growing up and stuff, but like more real side of my family is in Shelbyville and the following areas.
Okay. Yeah, because I always wonder about that because, like I said, it is such a small town. And, like, my brother's wife, it's her family has been there, you know, for always. And so it's like everybody knows the Dokes, like the funeral home, you know, that funeral. Yeah.
Same.
So, right. So it's like, that's why I always just wonder about that. But yeah, so tell me this, because I don't even know, Matt, because I've known you for this long, but are you an only child or do you have siblings?
No, I got two brothers. I got an older one and a younger one.
Okay, so you're a middle child. So that explains it. Okay, got it. Now
the struggle's real.
Now I get it.
The younger brother got everything. The older brother taught me everything. So it was one of those things.
Really?
It's like I hung out with my older brother and all of his friends growing up. So that was one thing I was always a step ahead of all my friends and stuff. Because like, what's a curfew? I never had one. I'd hang out with my older brother, so I didn't have to, oh yeah, parents, where you at and all this? And I'm like, I would text them where I'm at and everything else. And I learned along the line is like, if I let them know where I'm at, they're not too worried about me and don't matter about when I get in and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not getting into stuff. And then by the time I got to high school and college, I was in bed before 10 p.m. So it's like nothing to worry about.
So, because I only know the perspective from like my sister-in-law's siblings because she's one of 10. And I mean, all of them were pretty wild. You know what I'm saying? And especially because like me, like I was coming, like when I met them, they was coming from like Christian school, but then like I started getting in my teenage years with them. So I would come visit sometimes, you know? And I mean like back roads, like drinking out Sonic with like vodka. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was what Shelbyville was for me. That was like, experience. You know, and not me driving, by the way, but like them driving and stuff. So it was one of those things where like, those times didn't happen often, but like I knew if I went down there, like, that's probably gonna be the vibe. So was that kind of how you grew up with, or was it like, nah?
No, I was not. I knew about all these things going on, but Matt was never there. None of that. It's like I went to a couple parties, and had that was enough experiences I had. Like I did dance with this one girl. Her dad ended up being racist and dragging her up out of the party and everything else. And I was like, that was freshman year, and I'm just like, you know what? Matt's just gonna keep his happy tail at home. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not about to get out here and get killed or nothing like that. So that happened once, and then like my senior year, my boy had a party, and then I was like seeing people do actual hard drugs and stuff like that, and I'm just like, yeah, not my vibes. I don't really care to drink or do any of this stuff. So I was just like, yeah, I'm out. So I mostly just played video games through high school and stuff like that.
Okay, so that's because I was wondering about that, like, because again, not to like, I mean, assume, but were you one of the only like Black people kind of in your high school and stuff, or was it like no?
It was a large majority. It's like it wasn't nothing like that, but a lot of them were more getting in trouble, like listening to the music and everything else, and trying to live that street lifestyle.
I see.
Act like they're, and I'm just like, I'm smarter than that. So I'm not going to participate in that. So I was always called like the whitest Black person anybody knew. Because it's like, no, I just have actual common sense and logic and think about these things and thinking about what I want to do in life. Because that was one thing me and my cousin had in common. Like my cousin Christian is like, we're thinking about long term, like how we're gonna make it up out of this town and what's to come and stuff like that. Where he was playing basketball and doing all this, and I was like, I'm gonna learn the business side of the thing. So if you play basketball, get popular that way, I can run the business, and then boom, there we go.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, that's great, because it really is such a real thing. You guys that are listening who maybe aren't from here or don't know, but like, you know, I think about that a lot with my nephews and nieces and stuff, right? Because they don't really have an example of like I am their example of a female, like strong female entrepreneur that isn't married by now, have kids, you know what I mean? Like, because what they see is, you know, 18, we out, we're getting, you know, married, we're doing all those things, right? Or they feel less than if they don't have a partner, or they don't really know, like, you know, and again, like, there's just not a clear path, or you know what I mean? Like that they feel like it's just kind of like what everyone they see is doing. So I've always tried to like at least give them a different perspective. You know what I mean?
Facts. And that's the thing about us is like not really many people have made it out doing stuff. So like me and him have always been trying to be those ones that do and stuff like that. Like I have another cousin now, Keon Johnson, is in the NBA. Like, and that was an actual good example. Like right here in this small town, he made it out playing basketball and everything else. It took a lot of people behind the scenes helping him, but he did. Like went to UT. Me and my little brother went up to a game and stuff like that. And like I'm still upset I hadn't made it to watch him in the NBA yet. But it's one of those things. It's like there's finally other examples of people making it out, and I'm trying to be one of those other ones. Like me and my cousin are like, look, there's other ways to do it. You don't have to be out here just doing the same old, and everything else. Because like my cousin trains basketball, so he's doing that now and helping out, and a lot of people are seeing it. And he's going different states and stuff, and taking new kids out of town that have never been out of town. And it's just like it's so surreal. And we've had conversations about it, just like. Some of these kids have never been out of the state. And he took them out of the state for their first time to go play basketball.
Well, that's like my nephew. He had never flown on an airplane until like his like senior year, I guess you'd say. And then same thing with like my little niece. Like I don't even know how old she was, but maybe like she was like 6 or something. But she goes, this is the first time that she was in an elevator when I was living in Connect. And like, and again, I know it seems like, oh, well, 6, but it's like still, she was just so like, what is this building? What is all this stuff? And even the ones that are older, there's still 2 were like that. But it's a different condition of like my nieces that live in Nashville and grew up there to ones that grew up in Shelbyville. Completely different, you know? And so, and just what they're exposed to. And it almost like limits them, right? In a way. And so, what I've always admired about you is that you always have been on that like grind, right? And that is what your business name is, right? Like GrindSzn. And so, when did that kind of, I know you had the mindset about this or in like high school and stuff, and then college, where did you go?
MTSU.
Okay, nice.
I went to Motlow first for the free 2 years and everything else with the Tennessee Promise, and then MTSU, and did business there and business administration.
Okay. Was that 2 years at MTSU or okay? So
2 years at Motlow, 2 MT.
Okay, cool. So when you were there, did you like live on campus or it was like
I drove back and forth.
You drove back and forth.
It was one of those things. It's like my aunt used to be an assistant coach with Coach Insel. So growing up, basketball has always been a part of our family. Like my cousin Barry Stewart played at Mississippi State.
Okay.
My aunt Michelle played at Tennessee for Pat Summitt back in the day and stuff like that. So basketball runs in the bloodline and stuff like that. So she was one of the coaches and she coached with him. So like growing up, we was at MTSU all the time at all the girls games. Like, so, cause she was one of the assistant coaches. So we would go to the games, got tickets. So growing up is like, I'll go to MTSU. It's nothing to drive over there back and forth. And ended up doing that with one of my friends, Chance, now. And
okay, nice. And how old are you right now?
28.
28. I was about to say, you're 3 years younger than me. So I was gonna say, if I would have gone to MTSU, I might have met you. But anyway, I went to UT.
There's some people that I went to MTSU with that probably never saw me because I was on campus for my classes and ended up out of there and did not participate in anything else. It's like I'm here and get my degree and I'm out of here. I didn't really care for school.
Yeah,
like it was more a thing for my mom just to finish school. Like I didn't really care. I'm like I already know what I want to do business wise, and I'm like I've learned more outside of school than I did in school.
Yes, and I do feel like that is a lot of people's journeys and stories with it. My biggest thing I think for me was, and I heard this on another podcast I was listening to, that someone said that really college experience is to network. And if I would have gone into it with that intention, I feel like I could have made a lot more connections. But really the first year was just, again, drinking, sadness because I wasn't dancing anymore. That whole, being a sorority, like whatever, trying to find my place. Sophomore year finally started adding in movement, feeling like I was like, okay, I have a purpose. Like this is for me. This is kind of my, what I'm doing. And so it kind of just grew from there. But it wasn't really until like junior year where I hit my stride because I joined the business fraternity there. And that was so great because it was like co-ed. So then I'm dealing with all these different people and they have, they're talking about working for like the top corporations, you know what I'm saying? Like aspiring, just so it opened up the environment of like who I was around and the people, you know what I mean? And that was super cool. So it's like really, I loved college from like junior year on. And then I like, but then it was one of those things where I'm like, I wish that when you get on campus, they could have initiated you in that way. Like I didn't even find out about that business fraternity until my other friends told me kind of like late sophomore year and stuff. And then now you're adding on your full schedule, a job, the internships, the charity work, you know what I mean? All these different things, the friendship, all whatever. And then you got to pledge as like an older pledge. And then I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Like it's so much. And like, and you're just like, but we did it. Like I'm glad I did, but I really do. That's probably my only like kind of like downside of what with college, and everything happens how it's supposed to. But like, I wish I could have had more time because I think I would have made more connections like that.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
And just had that to network. So when you keep saying that you already had the goal, right? You already had this idea of what you wanted.
To a certain extent. And like I did do some stuff in college. That was one thing, like one of my business classes. Everybody else was like, what are we doing to do our business thing over? And it was just like, well, you got a business, how about we do yours? And then everything else. So like a whole bunch of like business plan stuff and all that got made while I was in school by my whole group of people, and I didn't really have to do much of it.
Okay.
And stuff like if any day I wanted to actually follow through with all that, I could easily run with that and everything else. Whereas like I'm just enjoying it more than anything. Like I started this more as a joke type thing, like me throwing some money into, because I like just throwing money stuff. Like I had rims on my car and I sold those to go to MTSU because I knew I was going to be driving in Murfreesboro a lot. And I'm like, I'm not dropping a couple $100s here and there every time I hit a pothole. Yeah. So I was like, I'll throw it into some shirts and a big joke and everything else of us at the gym. And it's just slowly grown. And it's just like, I really started to love it. And it's like working out has been one of the things that's just been a part of my life since high school. Like me and my cousin started working out, and then that was one of the things. It's like all summer long, we in the gym every day at least, you getting up shots, working out, and everything else, and that just built into me. And I'm just like, I enjoy this. This is my happy place.
Yeah. So talk about that a little bit, because growing up, were you athletic or were you like, how was that?
Oh, I thought I was going to be the next Big Papi. I love baseball. That was my game and everything else up until high school, where that got ruined by the high school coach there. And like Logan wearing his hat backwards right there, that got us chewed out and running and stuff like that. And that was one of my favorite things to do and everything else. And he just did not like me, and we always had problems. It was crazy because all the way up until high school, our baseball teams would always win. And then we'd get to high school and we sucked. And as soon as he left after not getting the job he wanted at the school and lost it to somebody else, which is just so funny to me. This team started winning and actually won the district that year. And I'm just like, oh, look at here. It's like, it wasn't us. We didn't have talent, that you always say, but we had talent. It was just more you. How do we always win up until high school? And everything else. And it's like a large majority of the team that played growing up didn't play once they got to high school because he was the coach. And
see, I hate that. And it just takes that one person that can either elevate you or completely destroy, your dreams. So with that, like, was there like a huge decline in your movement, or was it that you're like, okay, like I'll just do other things, or you got more in the video games and more sedentary, or what was that?
Yes, in a way, but that's also when I started working out because I had free time after school. Like, I was a part of the basketball team. I was mostly the manager, but I would still play with the actual JV team. So, like, even all the way up to my senior years, like, I was playing here and there with JV if they needed people, and still working out with the basketball team, being a part of it. Because, like, my freshman year, me and my cousin, that's what he was good at and everything else. And it's like, I'm a part of the team. I would still run and everything else. I wasn't the best, but I knew my role, and I was good at my role and everything else. And that's what I did best at. Like, I'm going to get in the post. I'm gonna hit you with this nasty pump fake, and I'm gonna get your big man to foul me, and then I'm gonna sit there and look at you and laugh like,
Logan's like, ain't
no way.
I'm like, I don't know.
No way.
I'm
like, I know what I'm good at. This head fake, I got you. It's something different.
It sounds like a good strategy.
But, like, I started the movement and stuff like that, so working out and everything else, and it's like that's where a lot of group of my friends that originally started with me in GrindSzn are from. Like, literally us showing up every day after school, work out, and then I would go home and play video games with like almost a different crowd of people. Some would work out with us, some wouldn't. But,
okay, so with that, when did you start GrindSzn?
2018 officially. And everything else. Like, it used to be just something we would write on the board and everything else, like little quotes at the gym and stuff, and we just like, it's a grind, we're on the grind. So I was like, I'm dropping this money and did it.
And for those listening, is that just clothing apparel, or have you expanded it to more?
It's becoming more and more. Like, I'm about to start. I'm just slowly getting into training. I've been doing it anyways without certifications. Sue me. But like, I've been helping some people that just like, I don't care about an actual trainer. I'm like, I've seen what you've done, Matt. I trust you and everything else. So I've helped a lot of people that way, and I've been training somebody here recently and everything else. And I'm like, I enjoy it. I'm like actually going to sit down at some point when I get my money right to actually get certifications and stuff, so I have the paperwork. But that'll be next for me, is training and stuff, but also from videography and gym stuff. So like, I've been doing a lot of that, shooting and everything. I still tell people I don't know what I'm doing, but nobody believes me. You're
like, but I feel like you have always kind of adopted the mindset of like, let me get in it and then let me try to perfect it from there. Like, just like jump in, versus a lot of people's mindset is, okay, I have to know everything before I even start. You know what I mean?
And yes, and you'll be waiting forever if you do that.
Exactly.
And that was one thing, is like, YouTube's, I started that years ago. Like, back in high school, I was making YouTube videos and stuff like that. So people just like, how are you good on video? And I'm like, well, if you go back and watch these videos, the dumb stuff I was making back in high school with recording people on the basketball court and everything else, my voice all high pitched and everything. And I'm just like, there's a whole bunch of that random stuff on my YouTube channel and stuff. And then I like slowly got into making dumb TikTok videos and stuff like that.
No, it's so funny what you said about the dumb videos, because like, I will watch back a video of me from just like even like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm like, did I sound like that? Do I like? And then I'm like, in 4 years from now, am I gonna listen to this and be like, do I sound like? I was just so, I don't know what the word is, right? Like, I don't know. So I'm like, fill in the blank, but it was just like. Like, I mean, it's no different really now, but it was like, priceless. Hey guys, so today I'm like,
I had all the confidence. I thought I knew everything. I was on top of the world. Nobody could tell me anything.
Exactly. Like, I was like, you can't tell me nothing. When really everybody should be telling me a lot. But I think that I look back at that so fondly, and I'm like, it was such a beautiful time, because yes, there was kind of a naivety about it, right? But it was also like you can't stop it. And so it was infectious. So then people were like, oh, like, we should like listen to this girl. You know what I mean? Like she knows what she's talking about. Like, love your body. Like, okay, like maybe we should love our body. Like, so there's it's a sweetness to it, you know?
And like, I did it for the fun fact of just be like, years from now, I want to look back and see what we were doing at this time and stuff. Like, I have my senior trip on there. Like, it wasn't the best video. It was literally trash. We barely recorded anything.
Yeah.
But me and my boys randomly send us the link to the video every now and then, just cracking jokes about it. Hey, like, this is when you got hit with a golf ball. Like,
I love that.
His go-kart got hit by a golf cart or a golf ball and stuff like that, or just random times and stuff. And it's like, yeah, we destroyed a whole rental car with paint. I'm like, man, it was a good thing we knew my boy Stanley to clean it and stuff like that. But so many things we can look back on, and it's there.
And you do video for your church, right? Every Sunday.
I shoot reels and stuff like that. Like, now I've moved on to actually doing the presenter and stuff like that. So I'll do the slides and everything else for like the actual sermon and the worship and stuff like that now.
And what church is it?
Believers Faith Fellowship. So we have 2 locations, one in Shelbyville and one in Christiana. We're at the middle school right now because we're doing our Here to There movement, and we're actually building a bigger church because the second service is just way too packed. It goes from being like 68 degrees, and then when we first get there in first service, and by the end of second service, it's almost 80 degrees.
Oh man,
so many people's in there. And
so it's just packed. Oh, well, I love that. So have you always been involved in the church, or has it been more recently?
It's more recently that I've been involved in doing stuff behind the scenes and being a part of it. Like, growing up, I've always been in the church. Like, I used to go with my papa and everything else growing up. Like, I was more forced to go, and then by the time I got on to like almost high school, it's like I would start going to a random Bible study with like my brother and some of his friends, and like now it's like it's a thing. It's just like I can't not do, and it's like, now I'm more a part of it and everything else. And it's like, 2 years ago I got baptized and everything else too.
Yeah.
I ain't post about it nothing like I was a little upset that you didn't invite me. You gonna pull up in the Shelbyville and didn't invite me. You gonna slide in, just slide on in. I'm just seeing the post and I'm just like, she gonna come to my town and not invite me?
Wow, you sound like Tyler. He said the same thing. I like called him that morning. He was like, you're getting baptized today? I was like, yeah, you know, and he was like, you didn't tell nobody? And I was like, would you have come? You know what I mean? And like, he was like, yes, we would have made out. But the whole thing was, I did that on purpose, like, because I haven't gone to experience, you know, that church, and I really love that church, and a lot of my friends go there. But my brother, at their church, my brother's like security. My nephews like help with like passing out the pamphlets. Like, my sister-in-law was singing on stage. Like, I wanted it to be very like family focused, you know? And it was one of those things where I just needed it to be like, Danielle is like here, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't have to like show up for anybody in any other type of way. It was just like very family centered. And that was a really special moment. And so again, I was like, you know, I don't know. I felt, what's the word? Like, so often there's so many people that I feel like that do know me in one way. And I just didn't want to be seen in that way that day. Does that make sense? Anyway, and so, but yes, but you know, sorry about that. But we can always go to church sometime together. Would love that.
Pull on up. I'm down whenever.
Yeah, but yeah. So so you said you got baptized like 2 years ago, and you know, have you like in your mindset, like, do you feel like because of that, like because of your walk with God, that you've been able to just kind of feel at peace with things more now? Or do you feel like, do you still struggle with, like, you know what I mean? Because we're talking about you not sleeping, so you obviously working all the time. So it's like
it's more my brain just always going and overthinking things and stuff like that, more along the facts and stuff. And it's like, the biggest thing I did this year has stopped listening to a lot of secular music. Like, most of the music and everything else, most of the mainstream, most everything people listen to is like, I don't listen to. It's like Christian rap.
I love it.
A little Christian country or something like that here and there in the mix, but that is it.
And people be sleeping on that because it actually is good. Like, because low key, like, my clients are not going to listen to this, so I'm going to say it. But like my, some of them aren't. But in the LYB, like, I've been playing those playlists, and they have no clue. They just think it's regular rap or whatever because we're
all
talking
the time at work.
So it's just like the beat's going, and sometimes I'm like, oh, it's sick. You know what I mean? And then there's like a Jesus thrown out, and I'm like, you know what I mean? I like pause. I'm like, did you hear? Like, you know, but it's like, it's so woven in that it's, again, it's how you present things, right? Like, I'm not presenting it as like gospel coming in, you know, old hymns, right? Like, but it's like kind of laying that in there, and I know that helps. I know that helps with their mental clarity, like with everything. Just having that in the background versus constant the same type of stuff, you know, that we always
So
hear
much
day in and day out. And
yes.
so I definitely get that. And I've been trying to do more of that myself too. So I love that.
I got a humongous playlist nowadays.
Yeah. Like there's options. We have options now.
There's so many more now, and it's like a lot of them. It's like I've heard of some of them beforehand and stuff like that. Like the one I listen to a lot is No Big Deal. Period. And he comes from Chevyville. Like he went to Cascade and everything else. Like my older brother went to school with him at one point when he was going over there. And stuff. And he's like, this was priceless. Like a whole full circle moment. Like here he is, somebody that comes from where I'm from.
That's sick.
And makes actual positive music out here.
Yeah, so. I love that. So besides that, what's been kind of like, is there a Bible study you still do? Like, cause I know I'm trying to get into more of having an actual group,
Yes, we do. Right now, we're taking some time off. My boy Henry, who really runs it, more of our pastor of everything, just had a kid. Congrats to him and all.
Yeah.
So he's had a couple weeks off with their new kid and him getting a new job and stuff like that. But our Thursday night Bible study is just like it's all kicked back and everything else. Like it's literally called "Let's Talk About It." So we're just in there having a good conversation, kicking back with people, and
I love that. That's fantastic. No, that's something that is one of my goals for sure. Just to, like have that.
Start one.
And I know. And that's the thing too, is like, there's nothing stopping me from starting one either. And like, again, it's getting past those barriers, which it's so funny because in my spiritual walk, like it seems like all these barriers with things, like, or I have had and like been pushing through those, right? But when it comes to like business or when it comes to other things, it's always like, the sky's the limit. Like there's nothing that can stop, right? Like, and I don't know why that always is. And I feel like that's just, again, me struggling with like the world, right? And trying to push through those things.
Yes.
And,
And yeah, I get that 1000% because then people wonder why I do certain things a certain way. And it's just like, I'm not about to do that. I have these morals and everything else now. And it's like this year I've read almost the whole Old Testament and everything else. And it's like me doing my morning cardio and everything else. Some people have caught me and they're just reading the Bible and stuff like that and just posted about it. And I'm just like, this is what I do. I'm like, I want to learn it and everything else. I'm getting more into it because I'm noticing a lot more of these things that are happening in life. And people just like, Matt, how do you know this or you can predict this stuff? And I'm just like, just get in that word and you would understand and why these things are happening. And people were just like, oh, I feel attacked. I'm like, I'm not attacking you, but I'm just actually informing you and stuff. Why are these things happening? Like, if you change this, isn't this, and everything else, it might not happen anymore. And they're just like, how do you know? And I'm just like, get in that Bible.
Right. I love that. Oh, that's so great. That is awesome. And that really like just like hits on my heart, that's awesome. So I love that. So tell me like, with right now, so you said 28, you got this business, you're living with your parents, right? So what is kind of your like goal that you see? Like, is the goal like to move to Murfreesboro? Is the goal to move out of state? Is the goal like to, you know what I mean? Like what is your
like goal is like once personal training starts, trying to do that, and then it'll be just slowly increasing from just being clothing to actually doing my own podcast and doing like owning a gym. That'd be the end goal and everything else, and to be like an actual gym because it's like.
You want it to be in Shelbyville so that you so people can have access to more. Yeah.
So it gives you something else in town and everything else, and it's like we have one. Like actual just commercial gym, which is like the Planet Fitness, and then we have one that's already from our town and stuff. But it's like we could have a third one there and everything else and appeal to like the younger audience.
My
and
nephew
people
would love
my
that
age.
because he always is like, the Planet Fitness,
I'll be up in the Planet Fitness, and
it's
but it's more the people that are there. It's like I know a lot of people that was there at the old Olympus that we had in Chevyville. Okay, and it's like some of those people are sprinkled in with all the people I've met and everything else and helped on their journey. Like I have a boy that's like, bro, I'll cook for you and everything else if you want to do a show. Like I want to help some way because it's like I'm like I haven't done much for you, but I've been giving you all this knowledge in the gym. And he's like, no, I want to do something in return for you. And I'm just like, this is just stuff I've picked up from the 10 years of doing this, like from all the people hanging out with, the different coaches and all these different athletes that competed and stuff. And it's just like, this is just stuff I've learned. I'm like, I'm rather this knowledge and everything else and not get hurt and know why. And I'm just like, I don't care. I don't want the money. I don't want this stuff.
Can I get some free food? Like, I mean, Like, don't play. Shelbyville's where BYT started. Build Your Temple.
Yep, my boy Chance. Love everybody there.
Yeah.
Misty, Chance, and I know a lot of the people that work there. It's like, I know where it started at. Like, it was at Olympus back in the day.
Okay.
And he was literally like him, a couple of his friends, and people I knew were like driving around delivering the meals and stuff until he got his first location. So it's like, I've seen him come up and I've been a part of it. It's like, if you go in the Shelbyville location, you'll see this shirt right there on the back wall and stuff like that and everything. Because he's like, bro, I'll put some of your shirts up here. Just holla at me and everything else.
I've never gotten to go into it because it's always on like a Sunday, usually when I'm like going up there, see family or something. So it's like, but I'm always like, those are the meals that are in NutriShop and they're like around. And so I'm like, that's super cool. But no, I love that. So with the like owning your own gym and stuff like that, you know, is it, well, here, let me backtrack because I do want people to know too, though, you've had like a significant weight loss journey. So what?
If you want to find me anywhere, my name is Matthew Johnson. I am JIV on all socials. My business is The GrindSzn. So you can find that website at www.thegrindzn, TheGrindSzn.com.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to the LYB podcast. Thank you for everyone who subscribed, who shared this podcast, follows along with the mission. I just appreciate you so much. If you haven't yet, please make sure to check out on Amazon my new How to Love Your Body Throughout book. It is just a piece of me and I want to share it with the world. And I know it can help you in your journey to love yourself more each day. Also, you guys, we're ending it with the Fight for What You Want challenge here shortly, but the Get Your Movement In challenge will be starting in January. So please stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter, get all the discounts, all the deals coming out for this holiday season. And if you ever need any online programming or anything like that, please reach out to Danny at DannyFitness.com for more information. See you soon. Bye. When did that start? Like what year, how old were you when that started? And what kind of prompted that?
It's one of the things I've been trying and doing for the last, decade, like since I started. Because in high school, I was overweight and everything else, too.
Okay. So was it like you were into sports for a little bit, and then you were still into sports, but you more so kind of got a little bit sedentary, you'd say, and then like put on the weight?
It was more once I wasn't in sports anymore, like actually getting to play, like it made a big difference. Like I would still work out, but I just wouldn't do any kind of cardio.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm going to go in here and lift heavy weights with my boys and stuff like that.
No more. Like I'm not doing the football runs. Like.
Because it's like, they made me hate the cardio part of things, whereas like I actually enjoy somewhat doing it. Now, I don't love it. I don't love it, don't get me wrong. Right. But I will do it now and actually enjoy it. Like today is like, I got up early, went to the gym at like 5:30 in the morning. Did an hour of cardio on the treadmill and then went and worked out, did legs. And then my boy called me. He's like, hey, you want to go run in the park? And I'm like, I'll walk with you.
Right.
So we walked a couple miles and everything else and just talked about what's been going on and stuff like that. And it's like, that's how we got the day started. That's
really like my default now with people of like, because I've wrestled with having people come over here, especially like, you know, just like male friends, you know, just being like, hey, like, let's just like sit, you know, and like watch it, you know what I mean? Like, and not to be whatever, but like, so now I'm trying to find more things and I don't want to go out to the bar, you know, and stuff like that. So I'm like, hey, like, would you want to go for a walk? You know, or like even like one of my best friends the other day, I was like, hey, like, let's go for a walk after a lunch or something like that. There's a new dog park down the road too. It's like a dog bar so people can like drink, eat, and then there's like dogs and stuff running around. So anyways, like me and a friend like went to that and I'm like, this was a perfect little thing. And then we like walked after, like, so it's like finding those type of things to really catch up. And I really enjoy that. And I think it's best, you know, get your steps in for your mental. So that's kind of my go-to as well. Like I've been trying to do more of. So
that's nice. Yeah. That's like me. It's like what's next? Maybe try hiking or something. It's like I've done some 5Ks. I've done that the last 2 years and everything else just on a whim and stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know if I can run this far. We'll find out today. Right. And literally that's how it was a week of. And I did the first 5K, done another one this year and everything else. And I'm like, all right, well, we'll see what's next. What's something new to do?
You going to do a turkey trot?
I don't know about all that. You know, people be telling me that or a Spartan run and stuff, and I'm just like, hey, look.
Yeah,
look,
anything
calm
you're
down,
thinking
guys.
about doing, I've probably done. So I can tell you all the ins and outs of like, you know, that used to be that's what we do every year with Danny Fitness. Like we would do, I would lead a workout group class. So it would be strength first. Then we would all go to the turkey trot and run the 5K. And then I've sponsored it. I've done the move fit for it, like beforehand to warm everybody up. Like, so yeah. Then someone asked me this year, like, are you going to like do the 5K? And I haven't done 5K like I did one recently, but before that, it'd been years because my back. And so I was like, no, I don't plan on doing that. I think I'm just going to like work out in the LYB and then like go eat. You know what I mean? And like go enjoy the day. But I always start off holidays like that, like a workout, just to feel good and just kind of get everything like the mindset, you know, about going to see like family and going to see friends and stuff like that. It's like I just want to be like my best, and I feel like I'm my best once I've sweat or I've gotten something done, you know.
Oh yeah.
So when you started, so you said that you started your like so high school, you put on some weight, and then so about 18 to now, you've been focusing on a healthy lifestyle. You'd say, okay,
Yeah, just picking up here, there, everywhere, learning from people left and right and stuff, and it's like got up to like my biggest point was like 350 almost.
Okay.
And now I'm down to like 280, 290 range.
I was about to say, you look great.
And everything else. Thank you.
You're doing great.
But it was one of those things. It's just like I'm going to find a way, and I'm not giving up on it. So it's like it's really encouraged me of like just not quitting anymore. Because a lot of times in sports, it was like once I got tired, I gave up and everything else, and that really stopped me. And it was like even one of my old coaches is like, we had you back on the grind back in the day when you were growing up and stuff like that. And it clicks now to me and everything else. And it's just like, yeah, they really did out here. Like they saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself.
Yeah.
And like I'm starting to see that in other people and athletes and stuff like that, where other people just overlook them. And I'm just like, hey, bro, come over here with me. Like we're gonna be laid back, chill, and everything else. It's like I'll teach you everything you want to know about the industry and stuff like that, and how the social media stuff works and stuff and all that. And it's just like once I get to a certain point, we'll be able to go. But right now it's not that point. But I'll sit back, show you all this stuff, and help you where you need help at.
Yeah, I love that. And again too, you know, I know you had talked about like the certification stuff, and that is important. And I'll say that all day long that if you're going to be a certified personal trainer and helping people, like just to dot your I's and cross your T's. But here's the thing, the people who they give it a bad rap, like the influencers and people out there who get a certification and they're like, whatever, like I know everything now. I am a firm believer on experience. And it's like, oh, let me find this quote that it's like, I can't even see my phone. I got my eyes dilated earlier, so I'm a little messed up, y'all. A little messed up. But it was so good. But it basically, I know I wrote it down. But it basically was saying that like it says you're most qualified to help the person you once were. Ed Milet. Okay. So that right there is like, because you've known how people feel, like you know where they've been, and so you're like, I know that I can help them, and like you have that passion, you have that drive, you want to learn more. You take from others, you kind of soak it up like a sponge, and then you're like, let me help you because I know that this worked for me, and I know that it can help you too, right? Yeah. Like movement and doing the cardio and having the balance and lifting and all of those things, right?
Yeah, people be just looking at me like, oh, you did an hour on the stair step? I'm like, I didn't start out with an hour. It was 10, 15 minutes here on the lowest setting. And then slowly just week after week and month after month and everything else. It's been a long journey of consistency. Yeah. And so when people look at me, I'm like, you're looking at 10 years of doing this.
Right.
I've made mistakes. I've done this. I've done that. I've tried this. I've tried that workout. I've tried that diet and everything else. And I'm like, well, just make these couple small changes and everything else. And I'm like, you'll see some big differences in just a couple weeks. And they're just like, what? I'm like,
well, because you can package it finitely of that because you've gone through it all. And that's what I try to explain too, of like literally, like, because some people will be like, oh, we've had your business for like, 7 years, whatever, stuff like that. And it's like, yes, but also you guys, like, I have been doing this for 12 years. You know what I'm saying? So being certified and being a personal trainer and being in front of different demographics of all different bodies, all different sizes, ages, male, female, everybody. And so it's like you just continue to take that in the arsenal. And I think that sometimes when people look at people that are younger, they'll be like, oh, you've only been doing this for a few years or whatever. It's like when you say it like that, it's like, no, like this has been over a decade of figuring it out, trying different diet plans, trying different modalities, like, what is the best way, So it's like, when people can look at that and say, let me help you instead of not wasting, but like instead of you going through everything I went through, let me like sum it up real quick.
It's like you're going to avoid some injuries and mistakes here and there where I'm saving you months at a time here and there on random little things. And it's just like, oh, well, I saw this video and this video. And I'm like, all right, well, you want to take this and just that and leave the rest of it just to them being an influence and they're just doing too much. So you don't have to do all that to look like this. And they're just like, really? And I'm like, yes, it got your attention, didn't it? Yeah. I'm like, that's what they're trying to do. And they're just like, oh, it makes sense now.
And I literally hate that so much. Like, I hate that, like, so a lot of my clients will do that sometimes, and a lot of people just in general will be like, I saw this and, you know, whatever. And I'm like, you guys, like, it's kind of like when you're on the field and like you have that one coach, right, that you listen to. Okay. And like, that is your person. So when you start, listen to like your other teammates telling you to play, and then now you listen to the I'm trying to get sports with it, right? You know what I mean? Like, look,
I can break it down for you. It's just like that. And you got your coach and it tells you everything. Like, here's the defensive line coach. Then you start listening to your parents, their parents, this fan and that fan and everything else.
So that's why I tell people all the time, I'm like, okay, like you can either listen to that or you can follow the plan I wrote for you. You know what I mean? Like, don't church it up. Like, don't like.
It's like me. As soon as I hear the word TikTok and I just.
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone, you guys, is going to have a different opinion because, like, everyone has tried so many different things and different things work for different people. We are all different. We all have different needs. We have different, like, you know, so it's not one blanket statement, you know, for everyone or whatever. Now, there's research that shows with certain things, right? With like the sleep. But also men can get away with a little bit less sleep than women, you know, with our hormones and stuff like that. So, like, again, you got to figure it out for you.
Yeah, I'm like, I ain't no telling. I'm just like, I'm leaving it all to God. We just going with it this year. I'm just like, for some reason, half the time I'm not tired, or every now and then I'll yawn throughout the day and stuff. And it's like, I've cut a lot of caffeine out because it's like, I had that surreal moment where I had a whole gram of caffeine at the Music City Expo and people were looking at me funny. And I'm just like, I was ready to go to sleep the whole time.
Wait, what do you mean a whole gram? What do you mean?
I had a whole gram of caffeine.
Like, wait.
Not a milligram, a gram total. So 1,000 milligrams of caffeine.
Oh, 1,000 milligrams. Okay, I was about to say like 1 gram. What are you talking about? Math. So okay, 1,000. So you like went in, and you're just like, I need to like.
I was still ready to go to bed the whole time. It was just like everybody's like, here's another energy drink and see if that helps. All right. And I did the math once I got home, and I'm just like, I feel tired. My heart ain't beating crazy or nothing like that.
Oh my god.
That was just fine. I'm just like, maybe it's time to cut back on the caffeine.
Yeah, at my worst, I was like pushing almost like 2 a day. Like 2,000 milligrams of caffeine. Like, no wonder I'm like messed up. Like, you know, like having
just
to
a little bit of time I got to hang out with you. I'm like, another fight. What'd
you say, Logan? What? Like, it was just crazy. But I just couldn't. I mean, it was crazy. Like, but again, it just goes to show you that you can get into a routine with anything. With anything.
Really? Oh, yeah.
He's talking about 1,000 once. He's talking about 2 every day.
Yeah, like, and it wasn't. I mean, it was close, but whatever. But
I would get pretty close to that because I would start with my pre-workout and it'd be like 400 right there and stuff like that, and anything I drunk otherwise. Yeah, random energy drink here and there. So it would get on up there, but
and it goes to show you that, like, you know, you can abuse anything, so good or bad, right? Yes. So that's why when people were like, oh, but like it's a good fat, or like, oh, but it's whatever. It's like, again, it's still like a quantity. Moderation. Yeah, exactly. So now that you've kind of, you know, you've been more, which I've seen online, like more with bodybuilding style workouts, right? Would you say, okay. So is that like, we've talked about this before, but are you wanting to do a show, or is it just live that bodybuilder lifestyle? Because I've listened to this as well when people talk about, like, you can be a bodybuilder that does not compete. But most people, especially in the borough, are like, no, you got to step on stage to be considered a bodybuilder.
Yes, so, and I'll say that to people too. It's like, I'm not a bodybuilder, but everybody in Shelbyville calls me a bodybuilder.
Right.
But it's like, yes, everybody wants me to compete. I would say they want me to compete more than I want to compete.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like, I enjoy being a part of it, being in the field, being around everybody else and the backgrounds and stuff like that.
Yes.
That's where I enjoy being at. Like, doing that with Ruck this year and everything else, getting ready for the Arnold. Like, I enjoy that. What do you need help with? Oh, you need content. You need this. You need help moving this. You need somebody to work. I'm like, I enjoy that part of being behind the scenes. Even my boy G doing the show, like, hey, holla if you need anything and everything else. And I really enjoy that part of it. Now,
Yeah.
even with you, like you doing yours, I did a part in that and stuff like that and had a great time. It's like I enjoy being in the background helping people, not actually doing it myself. Like I've never really cared for the attention and being the main one competing. Like the competitive nature died in high school because we lost all the time in basketball.
Yeah.
So I was just like, we're about to lose. So I'm like, I'm not
over.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't care to compete. Like I'm gonna go out here and do my best, but I don't care about competing with people.
But see, I think that that's so great, and more people, especially if they're listening from the borough, need to hear that because it is absurd how like inflated I feel like everyone has gotten about it, you know, and then it just because you step on stage like does not mean that you're better than the person that is like grinding literally every day, living that life and truly like getting after it. You know what I mean?
Like they'll tell this stuff and everything else about being in comp and everything else, and I'm like, I was on that strict kind of diet for almost a whole year straight to lose weight. Like I've done the extremes of cutting out all these things and stuff like that. I just hadn't done the actual show part of it. Like I've done the hours and hours of cardio and stuff like this and stuff when I'm like, yo, let's look at these workouts and let's do a workout together. And then they're just like, bro, you be doing all this? And I'm like, yeah, this is just a normal day for me.
Right.
And it surprises them. And it's just like, just because the way I look does not mean I'm not out here doing what y'all are doing.
So talk about that a little bit. So have you found that you get like a certain bias about your body type, or do you feel like it's like because again, you're living
a big scary guy. That's about really it. But like, no, on some things and stuff like that. But then when people see me moving the weights I move and stuff like that, and it's just like, oh, now you actually do be working out. Like a lot of people have learned that. Like I was shooting with my boy Javon and his coach and everything else, and I was sitting there and I hopped right in with their workouts and still made some dope videos with them and everything else. He's like, you did all that? The cameraman can do that? I'm like, yeah, just because I'm behind the camera doesn't mean I don't get down like y'all.
Right. So do you feel like has that ever like hindered you at all? Kind of that whole like mindset of having to like not prove yourself, but it kind of people put you in that space to where they're like, they'll see you like just standing there and they're like, oh, okay. And then you start working out and then they're like, oh, okay. Because I've dealt with that, like, you know, over the years for sure.
I enjoy it though. It's more than everything else. It's just like that one time do proving them wrong real
like
quick.
A nice
it's just
surprise.
Like, it's just like, don't play with me. I can do this stuff too. It's just like, I choose not to. I don't care about being out here and bragging about it and all this and stuff. It's like, I can post these crazy numbers, me deadlifting 600 pounds, no belt, no strap, no wraps, none of that stuff. And I'm like, to me, that's real. That's raw. That's authentic and stuff, where everybody else is like, oh yeah, I pulled 600. I'm like, you had all these wraps, straps, suits, and everything else. And I'm just like, that's not impressive because I've done it before. And they're just like, oh, whatever. And I'm like, okay, I won't post a video or nothing like that and stuff like that. It's just like, but I've done the crazy workouts. I've worked out with strong men. I've done all these different workouts and stuff like that. Yeah. And some people have seen it and they know. And they're like, oh yeah, Matt in the gym can move some weight and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't really care to brag about it. I'll post my little workout video clips and stuff like that here, there randomly. But that is just me.
I think that's a great mindset to have. I think that more people should take, you know, in suit of that, because it's like, it's just interesting how, like I've thought about this here recently, right? About, I feel like when I fast and when I am mindful of my food and am like on my regimen and routine, right? That I am closer with God. Like I've always felt that, right? But here's where it got skewed. Was when it got to the point where with bodybuilding that like then pride started coming in, then ego started coming in, then like anger kind of crept in. Okay, then this, you know, all these things, right? Compound and put over top of it. That then it was like, this isn't fun. 2, what is the purpose? And then like 3, you know what I'm saying? And then it actually took me further away from God. And that is where I remember like sitting on this couch being like, if this is my time, like it was awful, Matt. Like it literally got to the point where I was sitting there like eating the same meal that I'd had for like 2 years, and this lean ground beef with mustard and green beans. And like here's the thing, I think I was so tired that I didn't even get up to get the mustard. So like because I'm not a good cook, right? So I'm choking on the dry ground beef, and literally at one point I start choking and start coughing, and I'm like. And after I like spit it up, obviously, okay, whatever. And I literally sat here and I was like, if that would have been it, like, okay. But do you know what I mean? And like, how messed up is that?
Yeah,
like,
it was like maybe 2 years ago, I hit a point, like I dropped my little journey video and everything else. So like you can see my weight loss and stuff. And I just hit the point where it's just like, I don't care about anything.
Yeah.
Like I hit a point where I didn't even want to leave my room and everything else. Like I had to step so far back and away from everything. Like it was like literally, it was like I had my couple friends and everything else, and one person I thought was going to be a part of my team is not anymore. And I'm like, I told them they had to block me because I'm like, I'm not going to be any no benefit to your life from here on.
Yeah.
It was like, it was one of the hardest things I had to do. I had a full breakdown in front of my parents and stuff like that. But I'm just like, it had to come to that and everything else. And I'm like, been on the upcline from that and everything else. But that in general was like, I figured out I was doing a lot of it just for that one person's approval and everything else. And it hurt me a lot letting them go because they've always been there throughout my whole life and one of the people I've always talked to.
Yeah.
But it was more one of those things. And it's just like, nowadays it's like I'll just say I'm just here. Like I'm literally here. Like if you need anything, holler at me. I'm here.
Yeah.
And that's more where I'm at on things because it's just like no, I got to a point where like I didn't want to see weights. I didn't want to touch a weight.
Right.
I didn't care about going to work. I didn't care about if I looked good, if I took a shower, if my hair was done, and everything else. And it's just like getting back out of that and stuff. And it was like something that stuck with me. My cousin said, "God will change your taste of things in life," and that's just what happens. So now you got to find what you enjoy now.
Yeah.
With a new perspective on life.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I mean, I hate that happened, but I love that has been your outlook moving forward. So was it, if you don't mind asking, like, was it just that something happened at that point where it just like, you were just over all of it? Like you were just over it? Like what was the main thing?
Because it was more like I said just a moment ago, pride comes before the fall. Like I started to get very prideful and everything else with everybody just give me all these confirmations about, oh, you're looking good and everything else. And I'm like, you can't tell me nothing at this point. Like I've on the journey I've been lost. I'm going hard at it and everything else. It's like, but I was out here wilding. Like I cut out a whole bunch of addictions and stuff like that. Like I was smoking every day, all day.
Yeah.
Smoking weed all the time and stuff like that. And here I am like 10 months without smoking or anything like
That's
that.
awesome.
So that was one of the big things, but like a lot of that things I had to sit back, look at myself and make changes and stuff.
Yeah. And that's such a huge thing, like a point that you talk about, because like I see that and I see that so much of like when people lose weight. And I genuinely, you guys, because again, like I feel like, especially when I first did, it wasn't a like, you can't tell me nothing thing. It was just like I'm where I'm supposed to be. And like, I felt very like just appreciative and grateful and one with God. And like, I was on a good path, did the shows. And then I was like, okay, wow. Right. At that point though, then the fear crept in of like, well, now what? Oh, will we get right back to it? Like, okay, the next day, the very next day after it, and you don't want to eat this food because then you're going to put on too much and you're going to get FAT and all these things that was told to me by a coach, right? That I've now entrusted. I'm like, wow, like you've gotten me to a body type that I've never been to before, and now I'm sitting here being like, okay, well, to maintain this, like I gotta do this and I gotta do that, like, and then it became manic. And it became too, you see what I'm saying? Too much of like, okay, well, if I don't do this right, well, I'm just gonna go back to what I was. You know what I mean? And I was like, like that was so awful. And like, I hate that. I see that through social media with a lot of people here recently, especially because all the shows just ended and whatever, of like going through that, of like first time weight loss, of like to that capacity. So I feel like we do get trapped in that. And that pride comes in of like, you know, because it's good to be confident, right? Love your body, obviously, but then to have that ego with it of like, but like I'm the best.
Nothing go
like,
wrong and everything else.
Life is perfect and
like my business is doing great. I'm rolling up. I done got my LLC. I got all this and everything else and so much. And I'm just here running around and people just like, how you do all this? And just like, I'm just doing it. I'm like, I don't think about it. I know what I need to do next if it's right or wrong. And I'm like, boom, boom, boom. And then it finally all hit me and it just like everything went down.
And that's what's so crazy because we talked when I first had my podcast back in like in the borough. And that was probably 2 years ago, right? When you say?
This was like literally me. Around that time was when I started going through it. I didn't tell anybody, but like, a lot of the people that actually knew me was just like, man, what's going on and everything else and stuff like that.
And even in your demeanor today, I can tell like it's a full like 180. You know what I'm saying? Like full, like because that's I do feel like I remember parts of the conversation and it was more about like having things or like material or like whatever. Like I'm up on this like, I'm crushing it. And which, you know what I mean? And I remember kind of be like, okay, like
but it's literally where I was at that time though.
Right. And that was right around the time where too, like, again, like I was at that point where I'm like, you know, I remember just being like overwhelmed, push the edge. I think that I would like, scarf my meal down right after we were done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like I was so just like,
go.
Yeah, it was jam packed. And so anyway, so it's just like, it's such a beautiful thing to look at this now and see where you're sitting and also see where I'm sitting of like, that really the change right there was the letting down the pride, but then also putting things back in perspective of like, God has to be first.
Most definitely.
And like without him, we can try. We can do good for a bit,
but it'll all fall.
but it will exactly. And it's and not the thing like, and to you guys like listening, like it's like I prayed like every day still. Like I was always still praying. I was still doing devotional sometimes, going to church sometimes, whatever. But it was just that he wasn't the center. He was there, right, in the circle. He was there.
I definitely see a lot of people out here like that nowadays,
right?
too. And then you see them falling.
Yeah.
It's what happens in the dark shows in the light.
Yeah.
And I see it 1,000%. Like, even me, it's like a lot of the stuff I do is in the dark, though. So it's like when people see it and everything else and ask about me, it's like, you're going to hear good things about me. It's just I don't post about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be out here a part of this and that and this and that.
Yeah.
And ripping and running and stuff like that. But it's like, I'd rather stay in the background and with it.
Right.
Like, the ones that know, they know.
Right. Which is great. And I think that is such a beautiful way to live, because even like the post that I did today was talking about like setting the example, right? Of how, just in general with like how people treat others and how, you live your life and how you want your partner to follow in suit. It's like you have to set that example.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so interesting because it's just like reflecting back on all of that and reflecting. The main thing that I had to do was like let go of anger and like let go, you know what I mean? And like let go of that. And so when you talked about with that friend that you parted ways with and whatever, like, I mean, do you feel like you truly were able to forgive them, or is it like,
it was more of a me thing. It's like I should have expressed myself and everything else and been more vulnerable in the first place. About how I felt. It's like, yes, that one call at 3 a.m. in the night that I was randomly up when I used to sleep all the time.
Yeah.
And everything else. And it's just like, for the longest I thought, I'm like, I should have never picked up that call. I never answered it and everything else, and so many feelings and so much wouldn't have happened. But it all does work out in the end for the better. So it's like I learned a lot. I forgave them and everything else. But it's just like, I know I cannot talk to you because I know how all those feelings will come right back.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because I think what's hard in this day and age is that, like, I was talking about this with one of my clients about, she's very in the church and she like has a leadership position and stuff like that. But, it's almost like you want to help people through like what you post, but then also like you want to have that to yourself, but then also it's like a weird, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's like a weird dichotomy you get stuck in, because it's like, oh, well, it's for your business, but it's also like, yeah, but like, is it all like literally, like, it's crazy how my mind works, because I literally like I just came from like the eye doctor and like I did not get some good news, and now I'm over here being like, okay, how we gonna crowdfund like money for me to get a transplant? Like, what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, it literally my first thought, it goes to like, how's this gonna be in a post? You know what I mean? But how is this gonna like help others too? Because it's like, how is it gonna like
1,000%?
You see what I mean?
It's like a lot of things, like how I just run my business in general. It's like people think I'm out here doing all this and living my best life, and I'm like, I don't even make money off grind season. Like, it's literally passion. Like, I do not make a single dollar off grind season. I took money out the first drop and have not touched anything. Everything stays back into the business,
that's
doing
what I wanted
events
to
and
ask
everything
you.
else.
Yeah. So like, okay, so with that, like, I guess, what do you think? Because right now you sell all online, right? So
online,
in what, I guess, like, what is the mindset? Like, how do you get past that? Like, is it, because I'm asking genuinely, because like, yeah, I'll drop like clothes, wherever. I'm not an apparel business. Like, it's just like an added, thing into marketing, right? So it's like, what is kind of the strategy with that? Like,
it's a lot of just learning here and there. It's like getting more to where there's limited drops and not everything I'm keeping with me.
Yeah,
so it's like, you get it now. If you don't get it, then you won't get it. And
Yes.
that's how it is. And once it's done, it's done. Instead of me just sitting on stuff, it's like I got to start letting go, and I can't be out here just like, oh yeah, I'll hold one for you and everything else until you finally come around and stuff like that. And it's like, no, I can't do that. But also, like, that's why I want to get into the training and everything else. And it's like, yes, this will take up less of my time, but it's something I actually enjoy doing. And it's getting to hang out with people and stuff like at, because a lot of people that I used to go to high school with, they're all calling me now like, hey dog, hey, what's going on, man, like help me out with this and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, come on, because it's like it pays that I was always nice to everybody. I always cared about everybody and everything else, and it's like I always been that surreal person, just like, I'm gonna keep it real with you and everything else, and I'm like, I'll help you, just give me a call, you just got to reach out to me.
Right. I love that. And I think that is so important too, because I've had like my best friend from high school come on here as well and talk about like just everything. And that was the biggest thing, is that we both were really nice to everyone. And we never tried to exclude anybody or do anything with like ill intent. Right. And that was, I think, a very big part of now, like a lot of people from the borough, at least even if they don't have a healthy lifestyle, they respect what I do. You know what I mean? And that they see what has evolved, or like how it has come to fruition, you know? And that wouldn't have happened if I would have just treated everybody like how my friends were treating everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like a lot of people, just like I've learned that even out here looking for somebody and to be with and stuff, it's like they got to be okay with going anywhere with me. And there's going to be people that know me. Yeah. And it's like, I didn't burn bridges growing up like y'all do. You get a fight and everything else and act out of anger and all these emotions. It's like, no, I learned to control my emotions and bite my tongue on these things.
Right.
But it's helped me in the long run. Like, I can go anywhere and there's going to be a couple people that I know there, like everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here goes somebody. And the people are like, I see your shirts everywhere. And I'm just like, we be out here.
Yeah. No, and I think that that's awesome. And you do try to be in the community and try to show up at events and things like that, which is great. But yeah, like, tell me, like, you know, again, because you've gone through a lot of stuff, like, you know, which is, I'm glad you have, because like I've always wondered this, but it's been so hard when we only see each other in like few interactions, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that with a lot of my friends, you know, and so it's always kind of frustrating, especially the ones who found me through my business, because then it's like we're trying to like, you know what I mean, like catch up, but then like talk, and then like even my birthday, you know, I was like, thank you for coming, like, and you saw your pictures are up there, we hung them up, and that just like made my whole day. But it is just like hard to have like adult friendships.
Yes,
you know,
1000%. And it's like, I always reference to it like seasons. I know people are going to be in my life at one part and not at another. It's like this year I got to go to my best friend, like growing up, his wedding, I was in it and everything else. And it's just like, yeah, every now and then we get to link back up and talk and kick cat and just chit chat and stuff like that every now and then. And then some other parts of my life, it's like there are some people that I will call my brother, and if they needed anything, I would drop everything to go save them or be with them if they need it. I got friends out here that like I'm the godfather of their kids. So if everything happens to them, like they know I will take care of their kids and stuff like that.
Godmother, like, thanks guys. I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's my brother since birth. It's like my best friend since birth. Like I'm literally born hours before him, type thing.
Gotcha,
so it's like I was the best man in his wedding and stuff like that years ago and stuff. But it's just like that. But it's like, I know every now and then we'll have that moment where, hey, it might be a nice 3-month span where we get to link up and chop it up. Right. Like even like hanging out with Ruck, like we had a good period of almost 2 or 3 times a week. We're seeing each other hanging out, doing this, that, and everything else under the sun. Like there's videos of us like putting up a whiteboard and stuff that I have, and it's just, we're not doing this again. We're never moving stuff either. We're not doing a moving company. Even if he wants to start one, we learn real quick that is not for us. We just have show muscles, and that's what these are, show muscles.
Oh, whatever. Well, I don't help anybody move. I ain't doing that, like, because I'll get injured real quick. But no, I get that. So what is like, you know, is your relationship with your parents, like, is all that still really good?
Oh, yeah.
Even living with them? Because I know when, like, I mean, when it first was living after college back with my parents, it was a little rough, you know? But then once I started my business and kind of had a purpose, right? And I was working all the time. I was barely there, you know? But like, you know, when I got the chance to move out, it was one of those kind of surreal moments of like, okay, like, we're really good. So it kind of was like a bittersweet moment, you know what I mean? But now they drop by all the time, you know? So it's one of those things like, you know, whatever. But are you kind of like ready to leave them? Or are you like...
Yes, I do, but it's truly a blessing. Like the way we have it and everything else. Like I'm still there. My other brother, my younger brother didn't move into Murfreesboro into my apartments and stuff. And it's like, I'm at home with the dog most of the time and everything else, taking care of the dog and stuff. But it's like, it's one of those things. It's like we have our own understandings. Like they don't have nothing to pay for me really, or if they want to buy stuff for me here and there, my mom will do something like that. But it's like everything I need, I got it. I got my stuff under control and everything else. And it's just, I mean, I enjoy it. Yes, I want to move out and have my own place and have my own things. But like also, I know what area of life I'm in right now and what's to come next. And it's like, it's better for me to just stay here and grow everything and being able to take advantage of being at home still with them and stuff and helping them when they need help. Because like at any point, like I have family members calling all the time and it's like, it's a good thing I'm still back in town and at home at their place
and can help
with this and help with that and everything else. So I know this is where I need to be at in life, even though I want to move out and do my own thing. I know this is where I need to be right now.
Well, and it sounds like your perspective is so much like, I mean, truly, if we put that old podcast like up to this one, like it seems like that one you were very like future thinking, future like that, and now you're like very in the present, and I can respect that a lot, and that's so great. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because it can get super easy to trip out and be like, what's going to happen? The
best things I say nowadays is like, control what you can control, and there's not much I can control, so I just let it be. And people are just like, nah, I'm just here, I'm not worried about that now. Like there's no reason to. If it's going to work out, it's going to work out. And that's how I look at a lot of things nowadays. And it's just like, it's a lot easier that way, less stress and everything else.
Say that again. It's a lot
of less stress. You know? I got gray hairs everywhere up in this beard already because I done stressed enough throughout these years.
No, well, like again too, when you've gone through that cycle, that fight or flight, right, and you continue living that cycle, it's like your body does take a hit, and it's a recovery. It's a slow recovery of you know, trying to get back to like some normalcy. You know?
Oh yeah, 1000%, and we're slowly getting there. It's like I done been through a lot, but we still here. It's like every day I wake up is another day to keep going. It's like there's no reason to give up. Just keep fighting. Don't give into everything else in this world and stuff like that. And that's what I tell people, like there's no reason to give up. You still got breath in your lungs. There's a reason. You got a purpose to be here.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that was so beautiful, Matt. Well, real quick before we end, tell everybody, you know, I ask everyone this, and I'm sure you've told me a million times, but what is something that you love about your body?
What is something I love about my body? It's like I said the last time, I said legs. You know, I enjoy legs. I was doing legs twice a week and everything else. People looked at me funny, but I would say my legs.
No, I think your legs too. Yeah, you got great legs. And that's the thing is like,
hard for
more men gotta listen to that. Like, work out your legs.
Oh yeah, don't be out here with chicken legs.
If I gotta like grow this booty, like you could do some legs. Like,
right?
Come on,
don't be out here with chicken legs. Come on now, do some squats, do some hip thrusters. Just because the girls are doing, don't mean you can't do it.
Right. The other day when I was at Carbon, literally there was a guy. Like I was like, oh, I gotta do the hip thrust machine real quick, you know, whatever. And I go around the corner, and I see this dude on it, and I was like, I can't even be mad.
Right.
Like, I respect. Like, I literally, you know, if it would have been a girl, I'd be like, hey, come on, like, get up. You know what I mean? But I was like, but it was a guy, and I was just like, okay. Like, all right.
I see you.
I'm a moonwalk back, and I guess I'll do it another time. So, but anyway, is there anything else you want to leave with the listeners?
Not too much. You know, we got the new drop coming out and everything else.
Okay.
No stress, just blessed, and that's really what's on it and everything else. It's like I'm putting my faith out there more with my business too. It's like I've always been faith-based, but it's time to actually put it out front.
Oh, I love that. Well, I know you're going to have the best success, and you know I'm always here if you ever need anything. And so I just appreciate you, and thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it. It's always a good time to catch up with you.
Oh, thanks, Matt. Until next time.